Hi, Margie. So this is Noelle, Damage with No Regrets on YouTube. You had given me permission before starting this recording, telling me that I was allowed to record you. I just want to make sure that now that I am recording, it's still okay with you.
Yes.
Okay. And you are Mr. Donwell's daughter.
Yes.
Now, there are certain allegations being made against your father, and you would like to clear the rumor mill up because you're saying that it's not factual information at all. And everybody deserves to have the truth come out, especially when they're being drugged through the mud. So, what can you tell me about your relationship with your dad?
My relationship with my father, honestly, he's like one of the best dads I've ever had. Will ever have. But besides his drug problem, he's honestly one of the best. Like, he's always there for you when you need him, and he's always did anything that he could to help me out, whether it was money-wise or someone to talk to, or he's never went against anything I said. Like, if I needed to talk to him about something, he would listen and try to help me out with everything. Like, I can't explain it.
How many kids does your dad have?
With my mom, he has 2, but with his new wife, Candace, he has 4.
So there's 6 total children between 2 women marriages, and he still was able to accomplish pretty much anything that he could to help you in any situation that you've ever experienced in life.
Oh, yes.
So that shows that he was very attentive to everybody's needs.
Yes, like, anytime he had, like, his little drug ordeal or whatever, every Friday he would, well, not every Friday, I can't say every Friday, but anytime he messed up on Fridays, I could always count on an hour lecture from my dad the next day, even though I didn't do it. I never did anything wrong, but he would still lecture me about it. That way I wouldn't follow down the same foot.
So basically he was saying, learn from what I'm telling you and not by what I do when I mess up. Like, he knows that you saw and experienced the mess up part, and he felt overwhelming guilt, I would imagine, and he's trying to explain to you why you shouldn't fall in that pattern.
Yes. And my dad has always tried to teach me, like, not like the stranger ordeal. He always tried to teach me to watch out for people, because he'd always tell me, like, there's bad people in this world that'll want to kidnap you and stuff like that. And we used to watch America's Most Wanted together. That way he could, like, help me understand that it doesn't matter how old you are or how strong you are in this world, somebody is out there to always get you.
That's the truth. So he definitely wanted to educate you and make you experience all these different situations, so you were ready for the world that you had no idea was going to be, in your future. You were experiencing it early enough so that you were ahead of the game.
Yeah.
When he went on any, I don't want to say binges or like a one night or a weekend where he decided to, like you said, mess up and use something, was that time that he was using, even though it was short-lived, did that ever affect his relationship with you or any of your siblings?
Not with me. I know him and my mom fought about it a lot, but...
Right. I think that's normal. She wanted the best, and, that to her, in her eyes, wasn't the best.
All right.
So...
I don't know. My dad just, like... I don't even know.
Was he a full-time, like... I know he had to work, but when he was home, was he full-time, hands-on, involved with the family, involved with the kids? Just because you're home and you're present physically doesn't mean that you are involved. You can still be a non-existent parental figure. So did he try to be in your lives all the time, no matter what?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. There's times, like, my dad would take me and my friends out to play basketball together. And, I mean, he wouldn't take just my friends, but, like, practically half the neighborhood.
So he was like a neighborhood dad, too, like a normal everyday father. Like my parents, I couldn't tell you, we would have sometimes 10, 15 or more kids swimming in the pool and hanging out, and we'd go to their houses and there'd be the same amount of kids. So he was just a regular, like, neighborhood friendly dad.
Oh, yeah. I remember one time, me and my best friend, Crystal, we went and rode bikes together on the bike trail at night, and my dad would follow behind us on his motorcycle. I loved it. Oh,
that's so cool. I used to ride a motorcycle a few years back, and my kids would always be like, hey, we're going to be at the park, we're going to be here, can you show up? And sometimes like, can you ride the motorcycle? And then kids would want to get rides around the park, and I could give the rides, but I could see your dad wanting to be like, okay, I could take you for a spin if it's okay, with your parents or whatever. Like, from what you're making him sound like, he's just like a happy-go-lucky, I'm happy, my kids are here, my kids' friends, and he was a part of your life and experiencing you guys grow.
Right.
And I think that it sounds to me like that he was very blessed and honored to be your the father of
my dad, like, there were times that my dad was in prison and we didn't get to see him for long periods of time, but anytime he was there, he always made the best of it. I mean, he'd even take us to work with him and show us how to work. Like, he taught me how to spot nails first off, and, you know, I loved it. I loved the adventures at his job, like, seeing the houses that he's helped building or whatever, and I loved it.
So he was definitely very hands-on. He even did the whole "let's take my kids to work" day, and oh my gosh, I still love that when I did it with my dad too. So I can only imagine that you were probably over the hills excited. There are some allegations going around on YouTube about a CPS case from the year 1994. I'm not going to lie, I have heard a lot of mixed things about this over the past 2 years or so, but I never got involved in any of it because I didn't have the facts to base anything that I said on. I can give my opinions, but that doesn't make it the truth. So you would like to speak on this a little bit. You told me just to help your dad and let everybody understand, coming from his daughter's mouth, that you know what the situation actually was. So I'm gonna let you take over and tell us about that.
They were saying that was happening when I was 3 years old. When I was 3, I was living with my mother, and I can't remember exactly who all was living with us at the time, but I do know at the time I was being molested by 3 different people. I was being molested by a half brother of mine, a foster brother that my mom adopted off the street, and a family member from my step aunt's side of the family. His name was JR. I guess he's Debbie's son or something like that. That'd be Mary and Jenny, whatever her name is.
So you no longer have contact with that family, the step family?
I have not talked to them. I have not talked to any of them besides Jeannie and Trish and all them. They were about probably, I want to say about 10 years ago.
So 10 years ago, that's a long time. So it's safe to say that you pretty much separated your cord.
Yeah, I have not talked to them in years. The only one I can ever remember ever actually talking to was Jeannie, and that's because she had 3 kids.
Wow.
And honestly, I don't ever remember them being nice to me at all. So I don't know why I would have tried to talk to them about it. I think I would have talked to my Aunt Sonia before I would have talked to them.
Did you tell your dad about what was going on?
At the time, probably not. He does know now. Now that I'm more able to open up about it, because back then, you know, I was too scared to talk to people.
I'm sure they probably made you feel intimidated to say anything also.
Yeah.
It's very sad. Now, these allegations about this CPS case are made towards your dad. They're saying that Don Wells is the one that was doing all of these things to you. In fact, you're saying that it was not your father, it was these other 3 people. I won't even call them humans because they're less than human beings. Do you know the whereabouts of your dad? I know it was a long time ago, and it's probably a hard question, but was he home? Was he incarcerated? Or?
I can't really say for sure. You know, in one of 3 places, which would either prison, halfway house, or he was living with us, or living around somewhere.
Okay. Did you always reside pretty close, you know, like a close proximity to your dad's house?
Well, my dad never lived outside of our house, other than prison and halfway house that I can remember. But if he did live anywhere else, it probably would have been his dad's house or something like that.
Okay. So as of right now, we are saying that your father, your father, in absolutely no way at all, has ever done anything to hurt you or violate you.
No way at all.
I'm apologizing right now because I know that's probably hard to talk about, especially knowing that we're doing the recording for YouTube. I know before we started recording, you expressed that you just wanted to do anything to help your dad, and since you were involved in this case, you're the only person that can really, truly sit there and say, no, he was innocent, and these are the people that did it to me, and my dad was not guilty at all. And so it makes, you're very brave. It takes a very strong person to come out and say anything like this, especially with everything going on. Do you have a relationship with him and Candace? Like, I know you said that the stepfather and his family were crappy, but I mean, you and Candace get along all right and everything?
Yeah. Last time I seen them was about 11 years ago when they only had 2 kids at the time, but we stayed with them we lived with them for about 6 months, and before we moved back to Arkansas.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they're like any other couple. They fight, and But.
Right. No relationship is perfect. It takes a lot of hard work to make any relationship really work. I mean, you put 2 people together, and you just hope that you vibe and you make it work out. It's not always as easy as it seems.
Right.
So.
My dad's always been a hard worker.
How is he with your kids? Is he a good grandpa?
Oh yeah, he's great. Yeah. I remember one time we had a little we like to play practical jokes on people a lot.
Really? Oh my God. He seems like a jokester too, from just what I've heard about him and spoken with him about little things. And I don't even know if he remembers speaking to me in the past, but I know him and my husband have spoken a few times. But he seems like he could be a real funny, just like just a regular good old boy. You can hang out.
Oh, yeah.
You might throw back a beer or 2, maybe not. Who knows? But it's always fun. You never know what to expect. Kind of like the light of the party kind of guy.
Yeah, it's kind of hard getting us all together because once we get together, we kind of gang up on people a little bit. We have fun with it.
That's funny.
I love it.
Do you think that he would have ever done anything to hurt any of his other children?
No.
And I'm asking this because of the events that have taken place with Summer. I know a lot of the things are off topic. You can't speak about it, but I mean, you can, and you can honestly give your opinion and say, like, do you think there was any involvement at all on your father or stepmother's behalf?
I don't think either one of them had anything to do with Summer's disappearance. Like I said, my dad, he loves his kids, and his girls to him are so precious. I can tell that it's really hurt him. He's come up here to visit me a couple times, and I can tell by the look in his face that it's not him anymore. It's like taking Summer away from him has taken a lot away from him. It's just his whole personality has changed, and it's kind of hard to see my dad now. It's like I feel like it's hard to be there for him now because I don't know what to say or do for him. Like I can imagine.
What you can say can make it better or easier, but by him knowing that you have his best intention at heart and that he has your support, that means more than you think, because you have to understand YouTube is a huge land. A lot of them are just crazies that take advantage and they lie. One thing my husband and I are both known for is that we're not going to lie. I don't really care if I hurt your feelings or not. You're going to hear the truth from me. And, well, that's just my personality, and that's my husband's personality as well. And that's why we think it's very important that by doing this with you, we can play it. He's going to play it on his live tonight. I'm going to play it on my live another day. I'll probably text or call you. Well, I'll text you just in case you're busy. I know you have a family of your own. And see if you want to, talk about anything else, or even if you want to come on. And if you do come on, you don't have to show your face. I want your privacy always to be the first thing, that we focus on. So you can sit there and keep your camera off, and you can talk about anything you want to. I know Dawn is not allowed to speak with anybody about the boys. Are you allowed to mention them in any way?
I don't know. Nobody's ever said anything to me about it, so.
I guess my only question is, they were equally as loved and cared for as you and Summer and his grandkids, right? Like,
oh yeah.
So do you think that he deserves his children back?
I think he does. I think he needs them.
Yeah,
honestly.
Losing a child in any way, shape, or form destroys a parent. You can never imagine your life without one of your kids, or 3 of them.
I shelter my kids a lot, so like I didn't realize I was doing it before, but my oldest son, he was so sheltered that he used to get mad because I wouldn't let him go anywhere.
Do you have a memory that stands out that you want to share, a story about your dad? I know I keep saying Don, and I apologize because he is your dad. But anything that sticks out in your mind that's just like such an amazing, fun story that you just want to share, just to give a little more of like a personal invite to his life as a dad? Like any stories that you would even talk about with your kids, like, oh, Grandpa did this, or just little goofy things that you talked about with the family.
All I can really say is like the best description I have for my dad is like my dad reminds me of Home Improvement, that show Home Improvement. The guy on there, Tim Allen.
Is he the tool guy or the guy that?
Yeah, he would be the tool guy. Like That would be my dad right there, through and through. I mean, he wouldn't be as stupid as that guy is.
I was just going to say, are you telling me that your dad, when he worked on a project, it ended up exploding?
yeah, that's probably about the only part that's, like, not him, you know, but he was always the one there to, like, try and teach me about cars and teach me about tools, and he just wanted to make sure we, like, always knew, like, what we needed in life, like, what was the best out of the best, you know?
Right. I think that's awesome. I'm going to ask a question. I know I asked you if there was anything off limits, and you said not really. But if you don't want to answer this, please don't. You just say, I don't want to speak about it, or I'm not comfortable talking about it, and it's fine. Drop it and move on. But there have been, I guess allegations, I'll say allegations, that your father was giving sedatives to children, and then questionable things may or may not have been happening to these children after they were passed out. Can you give your opinion on that? Because a neighbor of his said it, and a bunch of other people, but the person that said it was Jody Sue. I can't stand it. But I don't trust anything that comes out of that woman's mouth. So I
have never witnessed anything like that in my life, honestly. He's never done that to me, and when I lived up there with him for 6 months, he never did that to his kids. I mean, like I said, my dad gets up early in the morning, and he doesn't get home till about 5, 6 o'clock at night. When he comes home, sometimes he cooks dinner, which sometimes can turn out a little scary.
Oh, and so he's not Chef Margie then. He can build anything, but Lord help you if he cooks.
Oh my goodness, he ruined my spaghetti one time. It was so bad.
I can imagine the look in your face.
Oh, never have him make some potato salad. Oh my goodness, that's horrible.
Did it turn out all mushy?
Oh no, he put carrots in it and peas and all kinds of stuff. You don't put in potato salad.
Okay, well hey, sometimes experimenting with food could be a good thing if everybody's on board, but clearly you weren't. So hey, you know what? He tried, right? So
I think him and my husband were the only ones eating it that night.
Even if he wasn't the best at everything he did for you guys, you can honestly say that no matter what he did, he tried and gave it his all.
Yes, he did. I mean, he's like one of the best dads you could ever ask for, honestly. Like I said, except for the drug problem, but...
Was that an on and off thing your entire life? Or, well, I don't know how long that he's had issues, so I'm just trying to...
He's had issues since he was a young teenage boy.
Okay. Yeah, that's a hard devil to kick, but it seems like he might fall back a little bit, but then he springs right forward and keeps going on. Right now, he seems like he's doing amazing. Yeah, he actually is. I'm very proud of him. With all of this that has happened, and this is not in any way insulting or demeaning Candace, but she had a stroke. Your dad had informed us.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how hard that was for them to have to go through that. I mean, it's completely natural for that to happen with anybody. But how has she been since her medical issue with the stroke? And how has your dad been coping with this?
Honestly, I haven't talked to her much here recently, but I can tell that she's not doing too well without her kids. I mean, they were everything to her too.
Absolutely. That's why. I mean, that's why it happened. It was just so overwhelming. And hey, I understand it. I don't even know, lost my mind. I don't know if I'd still be walking around if anything happened to any of my kids.
Right. I feel you.
What do you think their biggest goal right now is, other than, of course, to find out where Summer is and what happened to her? What do you think their biggest goal as a couple and a family is?
Just trying to get the rest of their kids back. I think that's the only thing they're really working on right now. Right. They can't see any other goal right now other than trying to get their kids.
Okay. Well,
that's all they talk about.
And they won't rest until it happens. I know that for a fact. So, with the allegations, we're going to go ahead and say that the CPS allegations in '94 was a false report on your dad. Was it ever even reported, or is it just a rumor that was made up because people heard about things?
I don't know. Like I never even heard of it myself. So.
Oh, so you just found out about it, and that's why you wanted to call and talk about it and explain that it never happened.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, he sounds like an awesome dad. Did he ever teach you how to play cards or pool?
Oh yeah.
Or baseball, football?
He's the one that taught me how to shuffle cards and how to do a couple card tricks.
Well, I think that your dad sounds like a pretty run-of-the-mill normal dad. I mean, my parents never had any issues with drugs, but my dad has always, taught me how to play sports and work on cars and, cards. I can't tell you, you're telling me stories about your dad, and, my parents were always very involved as well, and they sound like, parents like mine. They just wanted the best for everybody in their life, regardless of the situation and the circumstances. And I think that your dad kind of feels like maybe he didn't do enough because he did so much and he did try so hard, but at the end of the day, this tragedy still fell on your family, and so he must have some type of guilt, like, what did I do wrong, or what didn't I do right to prevent this? But he was at work. There was nothing. It didn't seem like there was anything that anybody did. It was just something that happened, and how do you know it's going to happen? You can't tell the future.
Right.
Is there anything before we cut the recording off that you think it's important for everybody to know about you, your family, and Don, your father? I'll be right out.
There is one thing. My dad, almost every single time I talk to him, he thinks about this time when I was 15. He went and done some drugs or whatever, and he ended up selling his car. And I was pregnant at the time, and I had to walk 2 miles into town just to go to a doctor's appointment, and he had to walk with me. And he felt so bad that every time he talks to me now, he has to apologize for that. And
it still weighs heavy on his mind.
Oh yeah, just seeing me walking when I was pregnant just tore him up. And I keep telling him, like, Dad, like, I did it every week anyways. Like, he always had the car at work, so, I always had to walk everywhere I went, so it never bothered me. But it bothered him watching me do it, and he felt bad.
Yeah, I mean, it was his fault in his head. He forced you to have to do this, even though he didn't intend on this being the situation. Parents will carry guilt for certain things they've done, and sometimes it's a lifelong guilt, but, he acknowledges that he's apologized about it, and you've told him gracefully many times, hey, it is what it is. Sometimes things happen and we have to just make it work.
Yeah, I keep trying to tell him that he's like the best father in the world, that I would never trade him for anybody. I mean, yeah. He still doesn't believe me, though.
Well, my kids say that too, and I know I'm not the best. I know there's always room for improvement, and I'm sure your dad, especially having a clear mind now for as long as he has, he's reliving a lot of things in the past, and he realizes there's a lot of things he could have done differently, but you know what, it's a learning experience. And here you are, after all of the lies and the rumors and just the attacks, you're putting yourself out there and coming on and speaking to me, and allowing me to record it to put it on a live later on to explain to people the things that they don't know about your dad and to clear his name. There was never any paperwork about him involved in this case. You even, as far as to name 3 people that were involved, and you didn't even have to do that. You didn't have to go that far. It was all about just, you coming on because you love your dad and genuinely want to protect him and tell the truth. And that's what kids do. That's what we do for our family.
All right.
So I'm going to end this recording now. Is there anything else that you want to say before I do?
No.
Okay. Then we'll do that. All right, everybody. I'm going to stop recording. Say bye, Margie.
Bye.